There was joyful dancing in the streets of both Gaza and Israel today after a peace agreement was reached. Donald Trump announced in Washington that Israel and Hamas had signed off on the first phase of a peace plan. He said Hamas would release all the Israeli hostages very soon and Israel would withdraw their troops to an agreed-upon line. Trump described progress as the first steps toward a strong, durable and everlasting peace, and indicated he could be flying to Egypt this weekend. Here's senior correspondent Lisette Reymer.
Joy is a rare commodity in Gaza. Smiles are not often traded between the faces of those on the strip. But today, happiness erupted. Journalists were hoisted high and Gazan spirits soared with them, daring to believe this ceasefire will be the one that holds. The writing was on the wall, or rather, on a note, when at an earlier US press conference, Marco Rubio interrupted proceedings to pass Donald Trump a piece of paper.
Okay.
The two words, "very close," were underlined, followed by the message, "We need you to approve a post on Truth Social soon so you can announce the deal first."
Yeah, I was just given a note by the Secretary of State saying that we're very close to a deal in the Middle East, and they're going to need me pretty quickly. So.
Within hours, peace was posted. The president announcing the plan had been signed off by Hamas. All parties will be treated fairly. This is a great day, he wrote, describing it as an historic and unprecedented event before calling his Fox News friends to talk it over.
It's amazing the way it's all come together, and it's a beautiful picture. I don't know if it could ever happen again.
The families of the Israeli hostages equally jubilant.
President Trump has done it. He announced just now that our loved ones, the hostages, are coming home.
Benjamin Netanyahu has called it a diplomatic success and a national and moral victory. But Hamas is warning Palestinians not to let their guards down. Still wary of any violations, acts of treachery or targeted actions that the Israeli occupation might carry out at the 0 hour. Phase 1 includes an immediate ceasefire, a partial Israeli withdrawal and the release of all 48 hostages, living and dead, in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Today, Hamas reportedly named those they want released, including the most prominent prisoner, Marwan Barghouti. Described as the Palestinian Nelson Mandela, he is a popular, long-time jailed leader who many believe can lead them to freedom. To Israel, he is one of the most high-profile terrorists, and the list of accepted releasees is yet to be confirmed. That is just the beginning of the mountain left to climb. The full 20-point plan involves rebuilding Gaza. This is the aftermath of several detonations the night before the deal was done. A ceasefire seemingly so out of reach until suddenly it wasn't.
It's peace for the Middle East. It's a beautiful phrase.
The timing of the deal has not been lost entirely among the celebrations. Saturday is notably when this year's Nobel Peace Prize winner will be announced. An honour Donald Trump has made no secret of chasing. Today he praised what he calls his talented team.
It's brought the whole world together. It's amazing.
Just days after the 2-year anniversary of the October 7 attacks, news of a deal did amaze those who had all but given up hope in Gaza. Their relief soon giving way, though, to something perhaps even more foreign to life on the Strip.
To our surprise, everyone seems to be sleeping. I think they're taking advantage that tonight is a quiet night. There are no drones in the background to keep them up. There are no fighter jets, no heavy artilleries. And when I looked at this, I think, okay, they deserve to be sleeping well.
A good night's sleep, which will feel that much better when they wake to realise their dreams of peace are finally coming true.
Well, Lisette's here now, and what exactly comes next?
Yeah, it's no doubt this is a significant day, a significant moment, but there is a huge journey ahead, Laura. Trump's social media post was very light on details. It hasn't gone into any of those thornier issues. We don't know how the next phases will look in terms of ironing out details of Hamas disarmament or who will govern Gaza in the future. They could prove to be huge sticking points. What we do know at the moment is that the deal is in front of the Israeli cabinet today. In the next 6 hours or so, they will vote. From that point, a ceasefire will be immediate. And then there will be a 24-hour period where Israel will have to partially withdraw, so pull back as agreed upon. From that point, a 72-hour deadline begins, and that's for when the hostage prisoner exchange will take place. So there's an indication that that might happen as early as Monday. But again, we're waiting to see that the ceasefire holds. Trump has indicated, as you've mentioned, that he is planning to head to the Middle East this weekend, perhaps even Gaza, which would be a huge moment. At the moment, right now, Trump can chalk this up as a major victory, but that is just for now. There is a big, big, big mountain to climb yet, and we are all hoping, of course, that the ceasefire does hold.
And we will, of course, be all across those developments. Thanks so much, Lisette. Well, back here, the ceasefire has been welcomed cautiously, and ACT leader David Seymour has again raised the possibility of New Zealand recognising Palestine as a state, saying the door could be back open to it. Senior reporter Juliet Speedy has the story.
New Zealanders, like many around the world, have been increasingly horrified by the images coming out of Gaza. Now a glimmer of hope for peace, though Foreign Minister Winston Peters remains cautious.
Another step forward, we welcome it. All the terms and conditions need to be met, and the influencers and those people who've got leverage need to ensure that each step is kept, but it's, progress.
For me, the big test on this situation is getting to phase 2, because that's when the rubber's going to hit the road, because we're going to find out whether Mr. Netanyahu agrees with Mr. Trump that there will be a permanent end to the war, and will Mr. Netanyahu abandon his Greater Israel goal? After all, his coalition government have said they're going to annex the West Bank in 2025. He also said early in the year that he wants full control of Gaza.
Peters is just back from the UN, where New Zealand stopped short of recognising a Palestinian state, instead calling on world leaders to help build a path to ceasefire and stability. But today he avoided singling out Donald Trump for praise.
Look, we should be congratulating all those involved who, as we called for 12 days ago, would step up and have influence, and they are. And so we hope that it succeeds.
This has all been triggered not by Mr. Trump suddenly realising the scale of the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. That's not what's moved Mr. Trump. What's moved Mr. Trump was the fact one of his biggest allies in the Middle East, Qatar, was attacked, and 5 Hamas officials and 1 Qatari security official was killed, which led to an angry reaction from Qatar. And Mr. Trump was very alarmed by that situation.
The New Zealand Jewish Council welcomed the ceasefire with deep relief, calling it a moment of respite and urging Kiwis to set aside divisive rhetoric and focus on reconciliation. David Seymour once again addressed Palestinian statehood and says recognition from New Zealand could be back on the table.
The reason the government didn't recognise, it's who are you recognising? We can't do that with Hamas. We can't do that while they're holding hostages and threatening other countries. If those guys are out of the picture and you actually have the chance to see a true, sustainable, democratic state in Palestine, then the New Zealand government's long-term position as a two-state solution is the answer.
Kiwis among millions around the world hoping this fragile step leads to lasting peace.